Hey, good morning to you. It's obviously you never like to lose games, particularly when you don't feel like you played your best. But a lot of things that I liked from especially the defense. I thought they played extremely hard, and there was some and shorthanded. Really easily could have probably held those guys to around 13 points. The 2 touchdown passes, we were down to our third team weak safety who obviously didn't get enough reps. But when Kaufman went down, we had to take Wooten and move him down there. And, we blew 2 coverages, with a guy that just hadn't played a lot of snaps. And we gotta just keep creating depth. But I thought they played, a really solid game, and proud of that side and the staff. Obviously, offensively, I know you'll find this hard to believe, but you watch the tape and there was a lot of good things in the first half, and should have left the first half with a minimum of 12 points. The 2 holding calls that we had 1st and 10 inside the 30 on both of them that put us in behind the chains. We're not quite good enough yet to survive that. And we were running the ball effectively. And then the pressure was a good bit on us for sure when we had to get in those throwing downs. And I think they have one of the more talented defensive fronts, but we had people open. And it was a mixture of, I think, us not standing in there and making a throw, and then also some times where I don't think we had time to adequately step up and make the throw. So we've got to continue to work and coach that better, and get us more consistent and stay out of the negative play situations where we easily could have had some points in that first half and made that a game. So that's the frustrating part of it for sure. And, but excited to be back home to play one of the gold standards in college football right now, with what Coach Smart has done there. And in his 8th season, he's got it rolling. And so it'll be a great test for us. Thank God we're at Jordan-Hare. I know it will be electric. And we're going to get the kids that are healthy enough. We're going to get them ready to play and compete in this game.
First question. Raise your hand, please. Thank you.
Hugh, when you go on the road, the 2 things you can't do: turn the ball over and get penalties in general. You didn't turn the ball over at all on the road in the SEC, but then you had 10 penalties. So how did you address that on Saturday, and how do you address that moving forward?
Well, there's 4 of them that I didn't like, and I've turned them in. I don't see them. Then there's 3 that 2 were intentional to try to back us up to punt and give Oscar a little more room to try to pin them deep. The false start can happen. We had one of those. Trying to remember what the others were. There was a holding call on a pass play that was probably legit. So, I mean, it was a mixed bag. You can't have 10 penalties, though, for whatever reason. And it put us behind the chains, and thought we controlled the second quarter. I think we had it for 12 minutes and came away with 3 points, which I think that defines the game. You control the ball 12 minutes in a quarter, you got to get some points. And we certainly felt like we were in field goal range, at least. Forget touchdowns. Let's just say we were in field goal range on four different occasions, and got knocked out either because of penalties or a sack after that. And that's really where the game. And then the 7-minute span in the third quarter, where we did not get any first downs, and they got explosive plays. For whatever reasons, I think just flipped the game. So can't have the 10 penalties, and that's not typically who we are, and we've got to get that cleaned up. Good to see us not turn it over.
Are you still heading into this week with the same mindset of Peyton is QB1 and Robbie will get his touches in some facet?
Yeah, we're still kind of wading through that, but that's probably where it will land this week also.
The protection on the offensive line, I guess from what you said in your opening statement, kind of felt like sometimes holding on to the ball a little too much. Sometimes, the line breaking down on the sacks. Just kind of, how did you see those sacks kind of?
Yeah, it's a combination. I think there's times that it's a plethora of responsibility, but ultimately it lands in my lap and the lap of the offensive coaches to make sure the routes are run at the correct depth with the correct releases against the correct coverage. And then obviously the protection has to be good, which is it's very hard to do that in third and long situations against a talented defensive front that you see in these leagues. And there were some times where, the ball should have come out and it didn't. So I think it's the responsibility lies in a lot of different places, but then you also had a great third down throw that puts us back in scoring position that we didn't catch, and so it's a combination of things, and but ultimately, like I said, it lies with us, the coaching staff, to get those things fixed.
Stay here on the right.
Just following up on the quarterbacks, talked about kind of Peyton probably being the one that you were going to look at this week. Is you said that he has to keep earning the job. I guess, how does he earn the job going forward at this point?
Well, certainly with more consistent play, but there's times I feel like we've let both Peyton and Robbie and Holden or whoever the quarterback is, I feel like we have let them down because of all the other components that go into the passing game. And that is where I'm determined to try to help get fixed this week before you give some final grade on a quarterback's play. It's just like when Robbie came in. I thought he made two really nice throws on two deep balls, and I thought the routes were not run correctly. And so I know that quarterbacks and coaches get the blame. Coaches, we deserve it. Quarterbacks don't always probably deserve it. And so I think, again, I've said we're still a work in progress with the roster that we have. And I think I've always kind of had in my mind that I kind of divide the season up. So there's a season one, which is the season up until the open week. And then you've got a lot of evaluating to do that open week as to how you move forward from there.
He already a roster that was pretty beat up. Physical game on Saturday. Any updates on Damari, Zion, and some of those guys we saw go down on Saturday?
Yeah, Damari will be out for a period of time for sure. I think they're doing some more tests today on that, but he had a dislocated shoulder for sure, and it's just a matter of, sometimes those things can heal on their own in time. Sometimes they require more work, and we really don't know. Kaufman tried, but just kept being gimpy with the ankle, and we'll have to see how he is day to day for sure. Puckett obviously left with a shoulder, and that really hurt us. He was doing a good job of keeping us on the same page back there in our coverages, and that really cost us 2 touchdowns when we had to move Wooten to go to the nickel position. Because J.D. Rhyme couldn't play, and we already, were without Keontae and Kaufman, and so that really took a toll on us and hurt us there. But all of those guys will be day to day. I don't think it's anything that's going to keep them out for a significant amount of time, but day to day.
Coach, how would you characterize what you guys were trying to accomplish early in the game on Saturday offensively, and would you point more toward execution or game plan? How much of that do you wear as a coaching staff?
Loved the game plan. Thought we ran the ball really, really well the first 2 quarters. Had explosive runs. Again, controlled the entire second quarter with the run game, and just didn't convert any drives, and for the reasons I've already mentioned. So second half game plan could have been better. particularly in the third quarter. But certainly I felt really good about the first half and the way I thought, blocked them, made a few mistakes that really hurt us on a few calls that should have been executed, and obviously we haven't coached it well enough that I thought would have been even more explosive plays. Got to transition and block better at the perimeter that made those 10-yard runs, 20-yard runs. So we've got a lot of coaching to do on that side of the ball, but I thought the game plan was really solid when you look at the film.
Front row, Brian and then Jay.
People are running open. Go watch the film. I mean, on the routes that were designed, either we didn't have enough time or we missed. We had a wheel route. This is probably a touchdown, and we overthrow it, and had a seam route with Fromm running wide open, missed that. We've got to make those plays when we have them, but a lot of those designs were pretty good. Then we either have to coach it better or we've got to execute it better. It's a combination.
Me? All right. You played or coached in some major rivalry games, including the Egg Bowl. Where does Georgia Auburn kind of stand up compared to that?
Well, I mean, I don't want to quote something that's inaccurate, but it's the oldest rivalry in the South for sure. I don't know about nationally, but it's. Am I saying that correctly? I don't sense that it has. I better not. I don't know if this is right or wrong, but I'm new here. But I don't sense the hatred that is in some other rivalries that I've been a part of. But nonetheless, I think it's intense. Okay, well, I'll find out. I'm not big on hate. I'm really not. I'm big on just, man, this means something to so many people, so we should compete in a way out of love for our people, not necessarily for hate for other people. That's kind of the way I operate. But, man, I hope we compete because we love Auburn, and it means something to the Auburn people to compete against Georgia. So that'll be my approach, and but nonetheless, that love is a great motivator for me. So,
yeah, Hugh, going back to Peyton, is there a big gulf between the guy in practice and the guy on the game field? Because
practice was really good last week.
I mean, he's really sharp in practice.
Really sharp in practice. Last week particularly was really, really sharp in practice, and we keep hoping to see that translate into the games. And again, it's a combination. It's not all Peyton. But sometimes it is, and he owns it. We had a good meeting last night, and so we just got to try this week to get a plan in place that all execute and all understand totally, and that falls on Phillip and his staff, and ultimately on me.
Yes, you. PFF had a stat saying Peyton was 4 of 5 on throws that feature play action. Is that a meaningful stat at all? Is that something you can build on?
We love play action. I'm trying to remember those in the play action world. I mean, the week before, we were very effective in the RPO game, and in this game, we threw 0 RPOs. That's not something I'm happy about. I probably am where I am today because I brought the RPO game to this conference, or one of the first, I think people would say, and that sounded bad. I don't want to act like I created the RPO world or anything, but I do think I was one of the first to bring it to this game with tempo, and we've gotten away from that, and I don't really understand that, and so we've got to figure out our identity, who we really are, and what can Peyton do, and what can Robbie do, and what can Holden do, and we're still. I know people don't like to hear it. People want success now. They want you to win now every single game, and I get all of that. This is not my first rodeo with taking over a program that has struggled, and certainly not at all phased and hungrier than ever to move forward and get better, and we will. Some of that's going to help in recruiting, but that in the meantime, you got to get the ones you have better, and that's our job. And for us to be all over the map, one week we throw effectively RPOs, and the next week we don't. Why? Why is that? And we've got to figure that out.
And another quick follow-up, change
Which
of pace
is
here.
play fakes. So I don't know if they're talking about, I don't know what they're exactly saying there. If play action versus RPO.
For a change of pace recruiting, you mentioned how big of a weekend will this be for you, the Georgia weekend with recruits coming here, and how important can a weekend like this be to the future of this program?
Huge. I don't know that we'll have enough tickets for all the recruits that want to come. I'm glad I'm not having to deal with that, but our recruiting staff is working diligently. We've got official visits, so we've got top kids here unofficially, and so it'll be all hands on deck. Auburn putting their best foot forward, which they will. Our people are incredible. Our place is incredible to watch a game at, the atmosphere, and so now we've got to make sure they see what Auburn is really about while they're here for a game of this magnitude.
Hey, Coach. Kirby's coming in here, two-time defending national champion. I know you've been out of the conference for a few years, but from afar, watching what he's done and what he's built over there, what impresses you the most with that program and what he's done?
Well, I played Kirby his first year when I was still at Ole Miss, and I know kind of what he inherited because I coached in that game, and I know what the outcome was, and I think it's a great testament to his vision, to his work ethic, to his staff, to his administration being patient and allowing him to go have the years he needed to recruit, and the dividends are paying off greatly. I mean, they're one of the gold standards in college football right now, and you're recruiting a top 3 class every single year, and that's hard to compete with, and they're well coached, and so you got to give them credit. I know it's a rivalry game, but the truth is the truth, and he's built a dang good football program there so that means a lot of things. Or it means he's got the support from the administration. It means he's got the support from the fans, and I don't know how long it took him. I don't know. What did it take him, 3 years or so to get there, or 4 years? I don't know. Some of y'all could do the research, but his second year? Whew. I don't know that that's accurate, but anyway, so he did it pretty fast then. That's pretty impressive. It's even more impressive.
Coach, on that note of building a program, obviously internally and externally, sometimes there's not enough patience while you're trying to build your identity. And some of these growing pains that you're kind of already seeing this season, what's the reasonable amount of patience that a team should have to be able to build that identity and find success?
Well, I don't get to decide that. The good thing is I don't worry about that anymore. I used to, but I'm older now, and I am totally comfortable in the way we are building this program and mentoring young people and teaching them the lessons that football teaches for life. And the wins will come. I believe that firmly. But the whatever people's patience level is really, I can't control that, so I can't worry about it. And I really don't worry about it, and I worry about the people in this building, our administration, and I worry about our fans too. But I can't control their patience level, and I think I don't know. Can I be really candid? I think it's kind of ridiculous that those are already discussions in and around our kids. I do, but it's not something that we worry about. But they should expect us to improve, and that's a reasonable expectation. And play hard, and I think our kids have played hard, and so I'll let the other people that really matter decide their patience level. I know there's a lot of programs that have taken 3 to 4 to 5 years to get where they are now, and they're probably happy that they did that. But everybody's got to decide their own feelings on that, and I can't worry about that.
Hugh, you're talking about something like no RPOs and those things. How involved are you in the game plan, and do you see yourself getting more involved in the play calling?
Boy, this is something I'm struggling with. That's all I probably need to say. It's not that I don't have. It's just this is new for me, and I'm afraid when I get if I did try to get too involved, that it could cause confusion with terminology. But obviously, they're going through the game plan with me. I go through the game plan with both sides and special teams, and so again, I thought the game plan was solid last week, and so. Again, some of it is, but it's a struggle for me, and I've confessed that to everybody in the building. Where that ultimately leads to, let's see how the year unfolds. But it's, I'm confident that I'm going to be more involved. But it's still difficult when it's kind of not your terminology, and it's kind of hard to make a lot of adjustments right on the fly on the sideline. And so anyway, I think Monty and them are doing a great job right now of trying to correct the issues that we all see. And let's see how these weeks progress. But we were together a lot last night, a lot this morning, and we'll be this afternoon, making sure. Now, look, you still got to block them. And you still got to go win a one-on-one. And that's easier said than done right now with the talent level that we're facing with a Georgia or an LSU in particular that are coming up the next two, and even A&M. But I will say I thought we won some one-on-ones and just didn't get the completion for whatever reason, pressure, or didn't understand the progression properly, or and all of that we have to get corrected as coaches.
Yeah, Coach. Everybody's been super impressed. I think yourself as well with Eugene and just the heart that he plays with. Who's that guy on the offensive side of the ball? Who's the Eugene Asante of the offense that just kind of matches a similar intensity like that?
Yeah, we're searching. Truthfully, that was one of the things. I think we've got to get more swagger on the offensive side, and like that. The most positive guy by far to this point has been Luke Deal. I think he's the one that has a good grasp on how this league plays out, how difficult these games are, and how challenging they are for 60 minutes, and how you can have 3 bad possessions in a row. We're not the only ones that have those, but yet you have to maintain this positive attitude that the next one could be the one that matters. And he's been definitely that for the offensive side for sure.
Coach, you've talked about the talent gap between some of the top teams of the conference and where you feel like Auburn is at right now. What message do you send to your team in spite of that to make them feel like they have what it takes to beat these teams week in and week out? Yeah,
that's a balancing act. I'm always truthful with our team, and I tell them every Monday in our truth meeting this afternoon, hey, this game you're the favorite, you should win it. This game is a toss-up. This game you'll be the underdog. That doesn't mean you can't win it, and here's how we're going to win it. So I've done that everywhere I've ever been. And I think it creates a transparency and authenticity. At the same time, I tell them to be very clear on the fact that I've never walked into a game thinking we can't win it, and they shouldn't either. And so I give them plenty of examples of you're not supposed to take a Liberty team and beat Arkansas either, or Virginia Tech or an Ole Miss to beat Alabama. But we've done that, and we can do it here too. And so that's how I go about it.
For you guys over the past 3 games, do you think maybe the script is getting thrown off a little bit at the beginning? I know you talked about you feel good about your game plan. What do you kind of throw in to factor that?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the other games where we drove it right down the field the week before and didn't get it in the end zone. We threw it on first down and second down, and then had a penalty, I think. And I don't know that we had another possession in the first quarter in that game that I can remember, because we went right down the field on every possession. So obviously the game plan, other than the tight red zone, was fine there. This game, I mean, we rattled off 4 first downs the first drive, I believe, and then the second drive the same way in this game, and you got in field goal range, and we shot ourselves in the foot either with a penalty or with a sack. So maybe have to evaluate, when maybe we have to go to more max protection. We'll have to look at that. But again, we should have had points in the first quarter, but we didn't. And that's got to get fixed.
Wanted to ask you about Holden getting that last drive. Just how important do you think it was for him to get that experience, and what did you see out of him as a young quarterback?
I think Holden, if he ends up at some point being the guy, he's just got to have a lot of reps. I love the way he seemed poised. His throws were inaccurate. It was 2 balls out of bounds that really could have, if catchable, to have a shot. He threw one really good one, but really he was about 1 for 5 on accuracy in those. But again, you're talking about a guy that we hadn't given quality reps, and I think he, with the quality reps, I think could be more accurate, because he has the quickest release, and he stands tall in the pocket, and I don't remember him having an enormous amount of pressure around him at that time, so that remains to be seen. But something that we got an open week coming up that we got to look at a lot of things. I got a whole list that I'm formulating.